making a noise. Hello and welcome to post-match reaction to the Bledisloe Cup 1. Obviously, the All Blacks won this game 54-34 with the Wallabies, scoring 28 unanswered points in the second half. To review the game with me this evening, I have the real Michael Pullman in Hamilton. How are you doing, sir?
I'm bloody exhausted after that, man. It's good to be here, though.
Oh, dear you. Running up and down the pitch with your players, eh? Also joining us this evening, we have Ryan from the Tribe app. How are you doing, sir?
Well, pretty much the same, actually. Pretty exhausted, just trying to catch my breath.
I guess, are your fingers sort of recovered from doing all your live commentary, typing away there?
It was a bit of a workout, this one.
So, to start off the game, for me, the thing that I spotted first off was we didn't have an opening kicking duel that you normally get in the first sort of minutes. Both sides kept the ball in hand and came out to sort of play a lot of running rugby this evening. Do you think that was more of a tactic by Australia, or do you think either side thought, actually, you know, the other side just won't give us the ball back?
I think what I noticed was that the All Blacks did target Rona a little bit with the high ball, but other than that, they did keep the ball in hand. I think that reflected their team selection as well, with playing McKenzie at fullback and Ioane on the wing. They were obviously looking to keep ball in hand and target that midfield of Australia, and well, it paid dividends, didn't it?
Yeah, they were sort of talking a lot about playing an expansive game and you know, keeping ball in hand, and I thought that the Wallabies weren't particularly bad with ball in hand in their opening half. They just didn't have it, and All Blacks were more clinical attacking wise, especially in that first 40. So yeah.
Actually, I guess the other thing we should talk about is pre-game stuff that's been going on. And obviously, during the week, we've had a number of off-field stories, clearly around Aaron Smith, Jerome Kano, etc. And clearly there was no hangover from that either. There was definitely people came out to make a point here that this was about the rugby. It wasn't about anything that was any sort of off-the-pitch issues that have been going on around the game.
No,
yeah, and I think that extends to Sonny Bill Williams as well, who a lot of talk around whether he should have been playing this game after his suspension. And he came out and really took it to Australia in that first half. But yeah, they let the play on the field do the talking.
And that's a big point. Is obviously one of the things that post Rugby World Cup, and we are still in some ways post Rugby World Cup, rebuilding of sides, is obviously with Nonu and Smith moving on. There was jerseys up for grabs there, and having taken last season off with his sevens, he has to grab the opportunity now. Otherwise, somebody else might take the jersey. So there's also an element of that going on there. But yes, there's definitely a lot of people trying to make a statement there in this game in the All Blacks. And as you say, the kicking to Ryan to Krona, it was all relatively short contestable kicks. There was no sort of length kicks by either side really for territory, which you will see in quite a lot of other games. Even though apparently the All Blacks did kick from hand 21 times, according to the stats I've got here. So there was some kicking there, but let's say not the normal territory kicking that you'll see in quite a lot of games. Also, early on, 2 early penalties for the Wallabies. Should they have kicked sticks, or should they have tried forcing the game a bit more and gone for the corner there?
They should have tried forcing the game a bit more. You know, it's sort of what we talked about on, I think it was Rugby Chat on Tuesday, mate. You know, like that first half early on, they just, we're going to kick for goal. This is just what we're going to do. And, you know, I think it was 7 points to 6 or something. That's not a psychological beat on the All Blacks. Actually, it just fuels the All Blacks. And that second penalty that the Wallabies went for the post, I couldn't believe that, man. They had all the momentum, and to just settle for 3 points and really hope that they would get back in the game, you know, later on, knowing what the All Black side is capable of, looking at how they've played against the Wallabies in the past. It's just, I don't understand it. You know, you have to adapt given the situation. They just didn't do that early on.
I'm a great believer in building a score and taking every point that's available to you. So I don't think that was actually that bad an option to take. I do like taking the 3. It does annoy me when teams do kick to the corner and then mess up and lose the opportunity to get the points. So I actually think they did the right thing. But we did see from the All Blacks a very Hurricanes style approach of not kicking. I don't think they took one shot at the goal. I think every single penalty in the half was kicked to the corner, and it's a very Hurricanes-esque style. Or is that just no trust in Bowden Barrett's kicking from the team?
Yeah, it's just poor. Like, I mean, both times the Wallabies got those penalties in the first half, practically, I think it was like 1 or 2 plays later after the kickoff, the All Blacks score. You know, so just poor defense, really. But, you know, you got to put yourself in a position to not just get points, but really back your forwards, and they didn't do that in the start, really.
I think Mike brings up a pretty good point that both teams actually had contestable restarts in that first half. We talk about taking the points. If you kick your points, you secure your restart, and then you're able to exit your end. No one would be talking about it because you put the pressure straight back on the other team. What the All Blacks were able to do, the first kickoff I think didn't go 10 metres. The second one, Whitelock's able to get up, tap it down, All Blacks straight onto the attack. Secure that restart, exit your end. I think taking the points is the right option. But if you can't secure that position, that's when it comes back to haunt you.
And actually, we saw it from both sides. Both sides were doing short restarts that were contested, trying to win that ball back rather than the deep restart and play a territory game to restart the game from a kickoff. So yeah, and with players like Folau, Whitelock, who can get up and contest those restarts, it's not a surprise that that's a tactic we saw from both sides. I think in a lot of ways both sides used similar tactics in that they tried to play with the ball. There was no deep kicking at all from either side. So I think it was a very similar game plan from both sides here, a very different game plan to a Lions-esque game plan, for example, that we would normally see. Although that's what I'm used to watching in the Northern Hemisphere, at least. So let's get on to the All Black side of things and talk a bit more positivity, I guess. Now, which was your favourite try of the game?
Oh, it's like, you know, it's like picking a favourite child, isn't it? I mean, they were just so relentless in that first half. I'm actually going to go for the one right on half time. Love a great set piece try, and that one was really well worked. The threat of Sonny Bill Williams coming on the angled run, Aaron Smith throwing a beautiful flat pass, and Crotty just hitting a great hole. You see a lot of kids these days trying to bowl over guys, but running into space, taking the ball in a hole, and you saw the reward straight through under the sticks.
Yeah, I'd have to go the Ben Smith one just after half time. I mean, just great little, I think it was a flick inside or something from Aaron Smith, or can't even remember. There's just so many great moments, but that one stuck out for me. And actually, ironically enough, it kind of sparked the Wallabies into life shortly after.
For me, I'm going to go for Rieko Ioane's one, because I think that showed up a lot of what was wrong with the Wallabies side. And it also, after that, we started to get to see the All Blacks playing more freely and playing comfortably, whereas I'm not sure you'd see a Ryan Crotty or a Ben Smith try those sort of tries in the first 20 minutes of a game. They're not quite, the oil hasn't heated up in the engine, as it were, by that stage. So and what I saw there was, you saw Folau, see Rieko, look inside, see Foley, think he's not going to make the tackle, step in, realise the ball's going outside, step out, and he's just totally flat-footed. And Rico goes around him. I think we saw a lot of that from the Wallabies tonight. Was a lack of trust of your inside defender. Gave a lot of weak outside shoulders, which players like Damien McKenzie, etc., took full advantage of in that game as well. So and for me, I think that's what we could be seeing. We talked to a guy called from Gainline Analytics about the cohesiveness of the team. I think especially having the wingers who don't know Kieran Dryani well, outside of Beale, who he's not played with probably ever, meant we had an entire back line who just didn't know each other from a defensive point of view on the Wallabies side.
Yeah, and I think firstly, correction. I think you mean Karevi.
Sorry, did I say Kieran Dryani today?
Yep.
But
I think it comes down to what we didn't see a lot of from the All Blacks against the Lions, and that was the ability to generate really quick ruck ball. With the Wallabies constantly backtracking, they were never able to get up off their defensive line, never able to reorganise that defensive line. And that's when having that trust in those combinations is when you need it. When you don't have time to communicate, you don't have time to talk, and you've got guys coming at you at full speed. The work at the breakdown in the first half, lightning quick ball, great service from Aaron Smith, and that just allowed the All Blacks to run rampant. Yep, they exposed Beale and Karevi, new partnerships, but I think it comes back to the work at the breakdown for me.
Yeah, and I'd second that as well. I just think the Wallabies, the players just didn't have too much trust in each other, and yeah, Will Guinea was getting to getting the ball out, but I thought he was actually quite terrible by his standards. But yeah, I mean that the try, can't remember what one it was when had a blank. Sorry, Paul. Guinea throws it out into the back line, goes through someone's hands. The All Blacks pick it up, they score. Yeah, just.
Because when I look at the tackles, we've got missed tackles 5 by Spate, Karevi 4, Rona 5. It was definitely the outside backs that were getting caught out in that first half. Because if you look in the forwards, Hoop was the only one. I mean, he missed 3, but no one else missed more than one tackle. So it was definitely those outside backs that the All Blacks were targeting once they got that quick ball. So who was your the man bossing the ruck area? Because apart from I saw a lot of and it's my turn to go blank now, but I've got the names here. Retallick on attack, but who stood out for you in the ruck area?
Squire.
Well, I thought Squire was immense today, and he popped up in the wide areas as well. But his work at the breakdown, replacing that Kaino role was huge. Sam Cane, you don't see him much, but he's in there cleaning bodies, shifting bodies. Yeah, those two for me.
Man, what a game for Liam Squire. I mean, it's been a lot of talk about John Kaino, especially today, but boy, Liam Squire, every time he gets the chance, he just nails it. And man, I don't know what's going to happen with Jerome, but boy, I'd play Squire every day of the week if he's going to perform like that. And yeah, I've been a big critic of Sam Cane and the Chiefs, but man, he's just when he plays for the All Blacks, he's a different player, and saw that again tonight. Brody Retallick, always wanting to have a fight, but gets through a lot of work, doesn't he?
He does, and some very good hands as well for a big guy. Yeah, I mean Squire over 100 meters running, and talking of Sam Cane, 21 tackles on the night, missed 2. But I had the opportunity to sit down with talking about blanks, with an ex-England prop who is doing the commentary in America at the moment now, Alex Corbisiero. And he told me that the biggest hit he'd ever taken was when he got caught out by Kieran Reid And if we look at Kieran Reid again tonight, 15 tackles, none missed. I think he also had a very good game, perhaps a quiet game but I thought he was very tight as well in there. The Squire for me, it's obviously stood out with that great run for the try, putting the pace on for a big guy. He has got some pace, and perhaps that hid for me some of his other tighter work, and I saw the glory bits rather than necessarily the hard work bits. The other thing for me from the Wallabies is they try to force the ball a bit too much, whereas the All Blacks were happy to go backwards. We're happy to throw a ball that hit the grass as long as they get hold of the ball. And tonight seems to be a night of possession rather than territory, whereas I thought Foley particularly had a poor game this evening.
I think it's a great point you make, because I think that actually flipped in the second half, and it was the All Blacks perhaps getting into that mode of we're going to score whenever we want. And whereas in the first half they were happy to be patient, build phases, and break the Wallabies down, the second half it was, after that last try that they scored, trying to score too quickly without being as patient. On the flip side, the Wallabies in the first half forcing the play a little bit. Second half, obviously chasing the game, but they looked like they were prepared to be a bit more patient and create tries.
Yeah, if anything, the Wallabies looked a bit more comfortable in that second half, and given the points deficit, no surprise. I guess you got nothing to lose. But again, in that first half, they just sort of panicked as well. Like you said, Paul tried to force things, but really in situations where they could have broken the defence, I think, and maybe put a pass over, they panicked, and it's just typical Australian Wallaby style of rugby in that first 10 minutes. Every opportunity, just panic and forcing it too much.
I thought actually the first 2 minutes were pretty good, but I counted 3 times that Foley tried a short pass when everyone was in his face, and the ball just got intercepted, and he turned it over, which I guess when you talk about Wallaby style of play reminds me of the World Cup quarter-final against Scotland, where again they threw a few interception tries that kept Scotland in the game, and maybe were trying to force the play too much there as well. So 28 unanswered points by the Wallabies in the second half. Ryan, you think it was that they were just the All Blacks were just trying to force it themselves too much, or?
I don't know if force is really the right word. I just think things had become so comfortable that they got into a mode of play that was expecting, I think, to keep racking up the tries. We saw the bench come on. They obviously wanted to get into the action themselves, and we just went away from the constructing of phase play, breaking Australia down and looking to be patient. I think that looked like the difference for me.
Yeah, I think Damon McKenzie off the back of the scrum when he threw the ball, hit the grass was where it kind of clicked with me. That those in the first half, those balls were going a bit more backwards, and there was a couple of All Blacks there to pick up the ball. It wasn't being done off set piece where you don't have as many bodies around because they're all tied in, and maybe that's where he should have. Well, the commentators reckon that they should have gone left rather than right, because they ran to where the Wallabies defence was. But to me, it seemed that every pass that went to ground was intercepted, whereas in the first half, every pass that went to ground, there was time for someone else to pick it up and just recreate the play in that stage. Now, maybe that is that they were trying to play closer to the line and getting tries themselves, and not trying to construct, or maybe that was that Kurandrani was doing a better job than Karevi in marshalling the defence a bit. Well, who knows? It's a bit unless you watch it back, it's a bit difficult to remember that kind of side of things. We've covered most of
a lot of the All Blacks actually if I'm reading this right anyway, probably not. Bloody tired, but Sam Cane and all those guys in the All Blacks actually made more tackles in the match. Which, yeah. Sorry, Paul, I'm bloody knackered, mate.
It is nearly midnight, so we'll wrap it up quickly. So I didn't feel. It felt like the All Blacks had more possession in the first half. They only had half the possession. It was about 47 to 51%, and they only got 31% in the second half. Most of that would have obviously been early doors. So it felt like they had more possession than the stats told, at least for me. And I think I've run through all the points I was going to make about the game. Any final points or things you think we should pick up on?
I think that second half has really set things up well for next week. The All Blacks now really need to go back to the way they started the first half. I mean, they have to start again. There won't be any sort of psychological hangover, I don't think. The fact that the Wallabies showed that they could pile on some points is only going to do their confidence a world of good. They've got nothing to lose next week. The pressure is going to be on the All Blacks for me.
Yeah, Steve Hansen won't be happy at all with what he saw in that second half. Don't think any of us are actually in terms of an All Black perspective. But, again, I just think the Wallabies, they don't help themselves. And they didn't in that first half. And yes, they came back in the game. And yes, they'll be confident heading into Dunedin. They're always confident. But I think similar things might happen next week, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've not thought forward yet, but you're right. There is that 20 minutes in the second half will definitely remove any complacency from the All Blacks. The Wallabies clearly can play at times, but they got their defence wrong in that first half. In a couple of hours' time, we have the Springboks taking on the Pumas. So I've gone for the Springboks in that one. I think that at home they will beat the travelling Pumas. Any sort of quick words on that game before we sign off?
It's a shame for me that Argentina are trying to adopt this policy of only picking Southern Hemisphere based players. I thought Facundo Issa last year was probably one of the finds of the Rugby Championship. He's gone to sign with Lyon from the middle of last season. So he's not available, which is a huge blow for them because to be competitive, they need all the resources that they've got. They're the kind of team that if things go their way, they can be competitive, but I can't see them tipping up South Africa over there.
Yeah, no, Springboks will win easy. Sorry, Paul, I just want to go back to one other thing too. Beauden Barrett, great goal kicking tonight. And if I hear any more bloody conversation in the media about, should he be a goal kicker? Well, I think he answered that question tonight.
Well, my repose that would be he has his good days and he has his bad days, and that yes, he can be a good kicker, but it's consistency is the big thing. And he had when he nailed that first one that was an out where the try was out wide, you could see that this was going to be a good night for him off the with the boot as well. I guess the problem with Argentina not picking overseas players is, could they attract the players to the Jaguares? Can they compete on salary alone? I think they're trying to compete. They're trying to use the jersey to help play, or to help pull the players to play in Argentina as well. And that may be the problem, is they just don't have the cash to compete with France if they did pick players from overseas. So we're all going for the Springboks later tonight. See how it goes. That's obviously that kicks off, I think, at 4 a.m. or about 3.5 hours time. I'll be asleep. I'll catch it up over breakfast tomorrow myself, and I expect the guys will be doing probably the same. But the Tribe app will have live commentary, so if you can't get to a TV and want to follow it, it'll be on there. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining me at this late hour. Mike, why don't you let people know where they can get hold of you?
Sure, you can follow me on Twitter at Real Mike Pullman. Been tweeting quite a bit tonight. And also go to the Last Word on Rugby .com. We're going to have a match recap, but we're now doing a fully fledged feature on the Wallabies, which I only found out about 20 minutes ago. So go there, read that tomorrow, and yeah, go to Tribe Sports as well. Great app.
Ryan, where can people get hold of you?
Yes, they can follow me on Twitter at New York Nixon, and they can see my live in-match analysis by getting themselves Tribe Sports app. So
just go to the App Store, either Google Play or the Apple App Store, and search for Tribe app. You'll find it there for live commentaries. And hi, I've been Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul. Is it that way or that way? I can't see. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at DrivingMaul. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel or the podcast if you're listening to that. For those of you watching live or who have missed the beginning, you'll be able to get the podcast within the next sort of half hour or hour or so. I'll get it out there. So search for #RugbyChat in your podcast listener. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back on Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. New Zealand time, with the #RugbyChat podcast. It's a late one, guys. Hope you enjoyed the rugby.